Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Two-Dimensional Champions. This is Julian.
And I'm Thaddeus.
Yay! And welcome to the best podcast about anime that I've been able to find on iTunes. So I hope that's the same for all you
I haven't really looked,
friends
but,
out there. Yeah. I mean, only 3 seconds of Googling. This is what I've decided. And today I wanted to start off by saying thanks for everybody who's been listening. And if you would like to submit a request or comment, say how awesome we're doing, send us an email at twodimensionalchampions@gmail.com. And comment on iTunes. Give us 5 stars because obviously you're listening because you like us so much at this point. We are at episode 5. And
the other reason is that we'll give you money for it. I mean, there's no shame.
We will. Yes, we will. Yeah.
I'll give you $1 for 5 stars.
Yeah, that's not a lie whatsoever. That's definitely what we're going to do. So yeah, give us 5 stars. Let us know how we're doing, and submit a request for what you would like to hear us talk about on the show next. So without further ado, today we're going to be talking about My Love Sotry, or
with 2 exclamation points, mind you.
Yes.
Great excitement.
Ore Monogatari or whatever. And this is based on a manga by Kazune Kawahara and illustrated by Aruko. Currently running in Shueisha's Bisatsu Margaret magazine, which is their shoujo, one of their shoujo.
Shoujo means girl anime?
Yeah, well, or like, it kind of, yeah, as opposed to the shonen being all actiony with, it's more of the romance story.
Okay.
Not that there's not a lot of crossover. Like Kenshin, I think, had mostly female readers when it was its most popular. But yeah, so generally more romance.
Okay.
That sort of thing. And the series is available if you want to buy the manga. It's available published by Viz in the United States, and we're going to be watching the anime on Crunchyroll. Or we have watched the anime on Crunchyroll. So if you'd like to watch the show, if it sounds good to you, or if you don't want to watch the show, but you'd pick it up, it's in Barnes & Noble, stuff like that. So pretty easy to get a hold of.
Right.
And it's pretty popular in Japan. It's getting a live-action movie.
What?
And it's getting
a
live-action movie.
How are they going to find someone that tall?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. They're going to, maybe CG or something.
Right. They'll just put like a Titan in from like the Attack of the Titans.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, since that movie is under production right now, they're just going to borrow some of the special effects. So the anime for My Love Sotry is directed by Morio Asaka at Madhouse. And Morio Asaka did Chobits and Cardcaptor Sakura. So that should ring a bell for all the old school fans there. So I found that kind of interesting. And it's by Madhouse, which if you're not familiar with Madhouse, definitely just Google them because they're
under the really fucking good category.
Yeah, they're under the really fucking good category.
They did Beck? Sorry.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, if you liked an anime, they most likely did it. Is what I'm seeing right now.
And what's really fun is they really. When they do adaptations from manga, they really pick some interesting stories usually. They did the Trigun adaptation back in the day. They just, for the most part, they tend to really pick interesting stuff, and they're a great studio. They're really good.
Yeah.
So let's get on this show.
Sounds good. So yeah, if someone were to come up to me and be like, "Hey man, you should really see My Love Sotry," I would tell them to eat a bag of dicks, essentially, because this is not an anime that I would generally see, just because I like violence and like the triage acts, like the ridiculous boobs or whatever, like that sort of like that ridiculousness is generally me. The Fields train, is not something particularly exciting to me, but I was pretty surprised by this. I can't say the characters are interesting. I kind of relate to Goda a lot just because I'm huge, and actually Suna, like I pretty much have like one of my really close friends we had this same almost identical high school friendship, that's continued, and that is just really funny. Just because he was always like the ladies' guy, and I was just always like this big huge guy or whatever. So yeah, I was so I related to being a giant, and it was interesting seeing that portrayed, and overall I was fairly impressed, but I'm not sure if it was like with each episode I'm kind of on the edge of is this all going to go to shit really quick and I'm going to hate it? Is it going to cross that line and then it's there's just the ridiculous drama thing is going to happen, or is it going to continue being this really entertaining comedy that is sort of maintained the first 5 episodes, but it's teetered on that line, at least to me. So that's been my impression. I feel like I finally have an anime though that I can suggest to girls, that like girly animes. So that's kind of cool, So it's they're like, oh, Thaddeus, what anime should I see? I'll be like Triage X, and they're like, no, I don't like that at all. But
yeah, it's a great shoujo series.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not too familiar with the genre. I did really enjoy was it Karikano back a long time ago? I forget what the English His and Her Circumstances. That was really good. And so I'm not super familiar. I know it's Fruits Basket and a couple of other shows that I've seen over the years, but this one I found really enjoyable because it was funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. There were some parts where I don't know. Do you roll your eyes sometimes when it gets romancy? Because I roll my eyes sometimes when it gets too romancy, right?
Yeah, usually when I'm where it usually loses me is when the characters are really just out there. They really miss super obvious, stuff. I was super stupid as a kid, but I still,
right.
I picked up on a few things.
And if I could pick it up, then these guys could definitely pick it up,
Or I'm always very, what's the term, incredulous when high school guys show, no hormones whatsoever. There's a line where Goda tells Yamato, his main love interest, I'm not gonna touch you until you grow up.
God. What? Yeah.
I know, yeah. And I was like,
and she's take me now, and he's like, well, never.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is she actually, she wants him to kiss her and all that, and she kind of struggles with how to tell him this when he's kind of this...
Dense.
And he's sort of a dense, but what's funny, too, is not only is that interesting story of, the really giant dude, and like you were saying, it is kind of a story that I feel happens with guys fairly frequently. In their group of friends, there's the big burly guy, or if not just one, And I think that's really interesting too. And the flip side of it too is a big part of the story focuses on his facial expressions, and he's got these thick eyebrows. He's drawn like a 70s Shonen Jump hero. He reminds me of, he's been turned into a comedy character, but he reminds me a little of Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. These super giant, manly man characters that are the personification of gentlemen, of the gentleman concept. So Jonathan Joestar from the beginning of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, just these guys that are huge, they're bulky, and they're the perfect gentleman. They, willingly sacrifice themselves at every turn,
right,
for people they don't even know. They always do the right thing, and they always perceive the situation usually in the most correct way. They've got this clarity of thinking. So even if they're not brilliant, they're just so perfect in the role of being a gentleman that they,
right, because the gentleman way is always the right way.
Yeah. And so I feel like he's a 70s action character stuck in a modern shoujo series.
Right.
So there's all this shit that's happening, and he saves kids from drowning in the river. I think it's episode 2. Fucking metal beam falls on Yamato, and he just blocks it. And And it reminded me of, I don't know if you read it, but there's this classic Spider-Man story where all this shit falls on top of him, and there's like a whole issue where he's like, I can do this, I can push it up. And it's a very awesome scene that happened in the 60s. Reminded me of that. He's like, I'm not going to give up,
Right.
super heavy. And they end up helping him. And it was pretty cute when the girl helped.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, I'm actually really strong.
I might not look like it, but I'm actually really strong. Just like all turning red and stuff.
Yeah. And
then he gets like the boner strength or whatever. And just,
he gets boner strength. Yeah,
just like you're really strong.
He's like done.
Yeah,
and I actually really like the voice acting. The voice acting is nice, and it's really well animated. What's really funny is the series is very it's very much like a sitcom in the sense that it has one. It really just has one punchline,
right,
constantly. But it does that punchline so well, and it's just so well done. It's well directed. The animation's gorgeous. The colors are really nice.
Right.
It just does it so well. It's a joy to watch. It's one of those shows. It's like a lot of those mecha shows and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, I've seen this story or I've seen this style of story at least many times before. But when it's so expertly crafted,
right.
Even if you don't love the show, it's a joy to watch, really. It is not a bad way to pass some time.
I think
and I'm going to blow your mind here for a second.
Okay, I'm prepared.
So Rinko Yamato is the love interest of Goto Takeo, the big burly dude,
right,
with thick eyebrows. So the voice actress for Rinko Yamato is Megumi Han. And that's notable because she was the primary star in another Madhouse Jump or Shueisha adaptation, Hunter x Hunter. She was gone. Yeah, and that blows my mind because Yamato's voice, I didn't even recognize her, and I'm usually fairly good at recognizing, at least some of the voice actors and actresses that I like, and she has a really high pitched voice in My Love Story, and Gone. In Hunter x Hunter, it was like the total opposite. She really,
wow.
So anyway, that blew my mind for a second there.
That makes me think of, do you remember in Dragon Ball Z, there's the Vegeta voice actor, and then he he was like the voice actor for everything, and he sounded the same everywhere. I remember, I think I saw an episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, and then I heard a voice, and I was like, Vegeta, and I turned, and it was this really tiny baby looking dude. I didn't really watch much of the anime, but I was like, what? He sounds exactly the same.
It's like the guy who did Cell in the original Japanese version.
Right.
He's done a lot of other shows too, and I always see him as these two characters. He's either Cell or he's the coach from Gumbuster. and that's it. That's whenever I hear his voice, I'm like, Coach, it's you. You're back. You're alive. Right. I knew it.
Oh, that's funny. So they're Vegetas in Japan as well, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Megumi Han is just really, that really impressed me because she sounds. I did not recognize her at all in the series.
Right.
So a little shout out to her because she also knocked it out of the park in Hunter x Hunter.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
She acted the fuck out of that series.
Yeah.
And they gave her a lot to work with. So yeah. So anyway, that was just a little blip. But yeah, and along with you mentioned the friendship at first. So the core of the story, and the reason why we didn't really do a story synopsis is because that's it. It's the big burly dude. His best friend gets all the girls, but his best friend isn't interested in any of the girls, and he's always kind of the odd man out. On the other hand, the big burly guy, Goda, has tons of dude friends. The dudes love him. The guys just go ape shit over him. Yeah, he's got a fan club at school that just they pray to him. And that's pretty cute. And actually, what I really liked is the second episode. And the first one is really there to set up the characters. They have the story about the two ogres, the red ogre and the blue ogre. And it's the red one, I think, isn't fun. It really wants to be friends with the people in the village. He can't because he's an ogre. So his friend is like, hey, well, I'll go and scare them for you. You come pretend to beat me up, and then they'll trust you. So he does that. And that's kind of the theme, the big theme. And what's interesting about that is in episode 2, it's really about, because Goto at first thinks that Yamato likes his friend Suna, as every girl in the universe has for his entire life.
Before I get too much more into like the bulk of the story, I'm wondering, are you planning on watching any more than the first 5 episodes? Do you want to continue this series, and venture on, or are you satisfied with the amount that you've seen? Are you there? Oh no, dude, just gonna...
I am here.
What the hell is going on?
I had to sneeze, so I put myself on mute, and then when you asked the question, I was, okay, technical difficulties. Yeah,
the most groundbreaking of questions. Let me keep in thought as I try to decide how I feel.
It's like, holy shit, he's thinking hard about this one. Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with what I've seen. I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, it's funny, I can't really say anything bad about it other than it wasn't quite my cup of tea.
Right.
But that isn't anything bad about the story. I mean, it's expertly crafted. It's really funny. It's very enjoyable. It's just,
it's not your genre.
Yeah, I mean, the routine is he's the super burly manly guy. The girl is super girly. Yeah. Like, just
there are a few times when I think I vomited in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, just as he's sort of the stereotypical personification of maleness, she's definitely, I'd say, so far the stereotypical personification of girliness.
Right.
She bakes. Everything she makes is delicious. When she gets emotional, her baking, she messes up her baking. He still enjoys it. He's like, that's an interesting taste.
Right.
And everybody else is barfing. I mean, it's very cute. It's just, I'm not, it's going to be 24 episodes.
Yeah, I saw it 24. I had no idea how they're going to make it 24 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
I was thinking 10, 12, max. But then 24?
I mean, if this is your thing, you'll really like it,
Right.
So that not to say anything bad about that. Also, I actually wonder how shoujo, or fans of that kind of genre like it, because I talked to my wife about it, and she actually wasn't interested in this series, which I was surprised by, because she reads a lot of shoujo comics. She's a big fan of a whole bunch of series, and I was like, well, why isn't this interesting? And she was like, well, the main character just isn't very cute.
Oh, like the dude or the
dude? Yeah, well, just I mean, because his friend Suna is cute, but the guy who gets most of the screen time, Goto, she just was like, yeah, it's not a.
This isn't fun for me to look at.
This isn't really working.
But it's been really popular. I'm actually.
Oh, it's been huge. Yeah, it's been huge. Yeah. So I just bring that up in the sense that that's the only other perspective I can think of. Otherwise, I'm just not as familiar with the shoujo genre as a whole.
Right.
So if you're looking for pretty boys, there's one in this story.
But he's really pretty.
He is very pretty, and he's blonde, which could count for points. So yeah. Otherwise, the main character, that's the joke of the story, is he just looks like a.
He's just really big. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts I think you said something earlier, is in it's solid. I can see myself picking up on future episodes occasionally when I feel like watching anime, but it's not like the anime that we haven't done, the Fate Stay Tonight Ultimate Blade. I will watch that that Saturday or within the next few days after it airs. I'm on each episode, and this it's I might do a 3-4 episode binge and then not watch it for a month or two or something like that, and then watch a few others. But I see it's riding that line for me between really good and enjoyable and terrible. So there's so many parts where I'm just bleh, or if there's suddenly this huge love triangle or something ridiculous, then I might just be fuck this, and then like be done with it, you know.
Yeah, it's good that you brought that up. That's actually my greatest fear for the series, is that it does turn into a love triangle, because his friend has, what I was going to say a little earlier about the story, the part of their friendship I found most interesting is, in the second episode, Goda really thinks hard about, why are they friends? Why are he and Suna friends?
Right.
Because he's trying to set Yamato up with Suna, because he thinks she likes her, so he's going to, try to get this relationship going.
Right.
And he talks to Suna about it, and he's like, well, why, if you're so popular with girls, why have you never, I don't even know what kind of girl you like.
Right.
And Suna...
Well, and so, for spoilers, if you're going where I think you're going, says, spoilers, just stop now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you liked what you heard about this story, go ahead and watch it.
But now we're just going to start talking about the series.
Yeah, now we're just going to start ripping it
right.
apart. So, yeah.
But sorry,
like crocodiles.
Savage crocodiles.
Yeah, so Suna reveals that all of these girls made fun of Goda.
Right.
So he's like, why would I date a girl
who makes fun of my friend?
Who makes fun of my best friend?
For me, I thought that was like the ultimate bro moment.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I was teared up. I was like, oh, shit, that's like...
Because he sort of seems like a sociopath until then. You know, it's just sort of... God, and the way that he was turning down those girls before, it was fucking hilarious. Like, in the first episode, it'd be like, oh, I really like you. It's like, oh, I don't really like you either. And then, like the way that he rejected people when it went from clip to clip of all the girls they rejected, and it just got, like, shorter and more aggressive. And I think it was like it was like, I just, I think like, Daikirai or something. It was pretty much like a, fuck off or whatever. It was like...
Well, you could see that he had done it so many times that it become a, it was an annoyance for him to keep turning down all these girls. I mean, and they even make a point in the show that everybody liked him.
Right.
So... older ladies,
right?
Like
the mothers,
fucking little kids. Yeah. I mean, it was just like everybody liked him. Moms. I mean, he was just.
God, there's so many like quick quips. Like, I don't know. Another time that I raffled was when like it was like in kindergarten or something like that, and she was like, "I like you." Like, I dislike you, and then Goda overheard and was like, apologize. You should never make a woman cry.
Oh, and yeah, because the kid was bawling, yeah.
Right, and then he's like, I'm sorry, and she's like, and then he, like, glared at him, it was like, see, I apologize, and now she's like, she's fucking annoying me again.
Yeah, she completely forgave him for dumping her.
Exactly.
Yeah, the little quips, like you said, like that, are really well done, and I really enjoyed, sometimes when characters will be talking, other characters will have these kind of little... very gently done thought bubbles.
Right.
Will pop up that will just comment what they're thinking, their reaction to a certain scene is. I really like that. That was really nice.
Me too.
Because it wasn't these giant, huge fucking pieces of kanji all over the screen, like with Blood Blockade Battlefront, which would just... Yeah, I mean, they actually made sound effects when they appeared. This was really nice, because you got more insight into the character without them saying something.
Right, and they were so fast too that I think it made you pay attention. Like whenever the guy whenever Goda goes really close to Suna, it's like da da da, it's like too close. Like,
too close. Hey, and I think for Suna, I think it makes really good sense. I'm glad they use that on Suna so much, because otherwise Suna really does seem like a sociopath. He laughs every once in a while really creepily, he just starts bowling over with laughter, and then otherwise he really doesn't react to much at all. So I felt very strongly, especially in the first episode, that these little thought bubbles were really nice for him, because it gave you more of an insight. Like, okay, this is a person. This isn't just the.
Right.
This isn't a cardboard cutout of somebody who's just walking around. So I really enjoyed that.
Is it weird to say that I really liked the way that they animated him laughing, especially in the first episode?
Yeah.
Because...
I mean, no, it's not weird, but yeah.
Because, what was it? The way they introduced that, the girls was like, oh, I wonder if he ever smiles. He only smiles for girls that he likes. And then this scene was sort of like, do they fancy each other? But no, it's just a bromance. Yeah. But anyway, he did something, and then, like Suna was like, ha, 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 ha. And then, completely stopped mid-laugh. And it was a really, it was just well animated. And then laughed more. But, that pause, it was like, ha, ha, ha. and then like deadpan, and then he laughed more. But like that, there's like little things that like when it happens and you're like along for the ride, it's fucking hilarious. At least I laughed a lot during that.
Yeah, those are the moments where the series really shows its greatest strength, I think.
But then there's the moments that make me want to like vomit when it's like when they're oh I like you, oh I like you too, and they're like oh but she doesn't like me, and it's like oh God, I just want to hit you all just in the face.
Yeah, I just the whole all that makes me sigh basically. It's just like
luckily just be a comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought that the whole goal of Goda trying to get Suna and Yamato together would go for half the series. I was really pleasantly surprised when Goda and Yamato hooked up in the third episode.
Well, yeah, surprised and confused, because then it's like, now what? It's like the third episode or whatever, I think. No, fourth episode, was it? No, it was the third episode. It was the third episode, and then like the main love interests are together. I didn't think that's supposed to happen. Like.
I mean, I
don't watch a lot of, whatever this is.
Shoujo. Yeah. I mean, I think it just I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah. Well, here's something that makes me wonder: is like, who do you think this is targeted for? Because like the bromance is really strong, like really strong, So it almost makes me feel as though it's sort of and then like the guy gets with the girl or whatever, and then they have a relationship. It almost makes me feel as though it's kind of targeted towards men. I mean, like or like an in between, like a little niche, like where it's sort of like marketing towards, I don't know. I like with shoujo. I always thought that it was like there's like one girl and then there's like so many guys and like almost like a high school host club, but not funny. Like
yeah. I mean, there are definitely those stories. I mean, I think most of them are generally just romance. I mean,
right.
I mean, there's a couple of titles that I see in my mind right now that I'm not remembering.
But isn't the romance about the chase?
Yeah, the chase, but also a big part of it is when characters get their lines crossed, like they misread each other. That's a big source of drama.
Right.
So you can have the girl, really has this guy that she likes, and then he'll say something, kind of cryptic, or she, misunderstands it or something. From what I've seen, that's 95% of the drama.
But isn't that like before they're actually dating?
Yeah, usually it's way before.
Right, but
and even after, yeah.
They're dating in the third. It's weird to me,
Yeah, which is why I really think you're right on that this is a very middle of the road series in terms of who it's being directed towards. Right. I really agree that this could be in Jump, frankly. I mean, It's funny. I mean, Jump has had romance series that have done really well. I think it is very much a series that welcomes everybody.
Right. Yeah. Well,
and I can see kids liking it a lot too, because Goda's facial expressions are hilarious.
Yeah. But also,
really
like,
fun.
with Nina, she was like, I don't like looking at this main character, like...
Yeah, it totally didn't interest her at all. I mean, she said she read it, she thought it was okay, but she said there's not enough cute guys.
Yeah.
I mean, so...
It's a real interesting... It's hard for me to really peg it, Like, and there are... Sometimes when I just like lost my shit, like here, wait, do you have like a funniest part of the anime? Because it's probably the same, but I'm wondering if there's like one part that you really enjoyed a lot or not.
The episode I enjoyed the most was the fourth one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the group date that they all go on.
Right.
Because I felt like it really brought out... First of all, I really enjoyed Goda having this big sort of fan club of dudes. I thought that was... that was just hilarious. And the group date was nice because I felt like the theme of... Even if he gets told by Suna, be careful when you meet Yamato's friends because she's really nice, but her friends may not be nice.
Which is like great insight, and I'm wondering if he's saying that also in reflection to himself.
Exactly.
That was a really interesting point too. Like he was saying, just because you someone's really nice, that doesn't mean that their friends are really nice.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was a very interesting point, and also it brings up the other. Really, this episode I found very interesting because it brings up another common issue that comes up in relationships. Is you have a big group of friends, and then suddenly one of them starts dating somebody, and the whole dynamic changes.
Right.
So how do these people react to this person? So her friends, a couple of them come back from the bathroom and they overhear what they're saying, and they're like, I can't believe she's dating him,
he's like a bear.
He looks like a gorilla, he's like a bear, and that's always an interesting, because that changes the friendship dynamic, because suddenly you see this new side to people out of their reaction to who they thought you were.
Right.
And not just that, but it brings up this issue of the person you're with is being used as a like an extension of who you should be in terms of what they look like. You know what I mean?
I thought she'd be dating someone more like Suna.
Yeah. It's like I thought they'd be with someone blah blah.
She said he was attractive. He wasn't that attractive.
Yeah. Insert whatever judgment you want. And I thought that was a really interesting dynamic, and then of course it goes off the rails completely when the building catches on fire. He dives into the fire, rescues their friends. He's trapped under all this rubble. Suna's like, oh, you should probably come out here because your girlfriend's about to jump into the fucking flames. And he just kind of tears out of the building, breaks through the window, does this really dramatic crash. And the best part of that was his ass is hanging out because he burnt off the back of his pants.
Clothes.
I enjoyed the whole scene. It was very well animated.
Right.
But I thought it was, it was a comedic conclusion to that little story. But I really enjoyed that story. Really, just because I'm a sucker for a lot of characters interacting in interesting situations, and this really, you got to see. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the interaction between his classmates and Yamato's friends with the guys, and also Suna, who. Again, this is another situation where all these girls, like him and say he's perfect. But now you're going into it knowing what you know about him from episode 2, which is that, it's like, why would I go out with people who badmouth my best friend?
Exactly.
Which makes me even more concerned about this love triangle.
Right, because Yamato hasn't actually badmouthed his best friend, so then...
Yeah, and it's the only girl he's ever...
Yeah, so that's like the whole, like, this is, like, there's parts of this that I really like, but it could go terrible and just make me stop watching it,
Yeah, but, if they did a love triangle, I would shoot this show in the face.
When he jumped out of the building or whatever, like, I was watching this with my friend, and he was just like, was he on fire in, like, one of those little clips? And then, like, he's just standing there, and you see Suna just, like, with a, like, burning, and Suna with, like, a thing, just, like, trying to, like, pat him down. And then, like, another scene, what was it, when he poured water all over him, and then he came back, and like, you're wet. And then, like, the girl's, like, has this, like, little, like a little napkin, and she's trying to, but she can only get up to, like, she can't even get up to his shoulders, and, and then Suna's just like, dude, do it yourself. Or, like, whatever. Like, there's little brilliant clips that are just, like, awesome. Which make it good, So it's like the love triangle, like, the threatening. I feel like it's threatening because it's such a damaging action of this love triangle, or, like, in episode 5, like, Suna's sister comes home and she's like, oh, I always liked this person. I'm going to look into the dark past of Yamato or whatever. I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. But,
yeah, I liked the sister, actually. It was really funny. It was really funny when Suna told her that Goto was dating somebody. She's just like, she just collapses, grabs his ankles, and is like, what? That's impossible.
There's, how can nobody love him but me, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. I mean, like, I like the character, but I don't like the now, like, Yamato's hiding something, so we're going to try to, like, find that out. And then there's, like, an exchange between her and Goda, because Goda was reading through, like, a woman's magazine to try to better understand women, and then, like everyone was, like, really uncomfortable because it's just so, like, huge, like, all, like, none of the girls are around, the people were, like really dodgy, and then, like, she, she said that Yamato might, like, have a dark past or be cheating on him or something like that, and then he was like, even if she's cheating on me, I wouldn't care. And I'm like, oh my god, that's like, you're what? Whatever, like
it's like, whoa, dude,
calm down a little bit. But my favorite scene so far in the anime, which I actually saw twice within like a 2-hour period, and I lost it both times, was in episode 3 when so what happened was like Goda was still trying to hook Yamato up with Suna, so he kept on talking about how great Suna was, and so Yamato cried because she felt that she was being rejected. So Goda was like, Suna, what'd you do? All you do is make girls cry. How'd you make Yamato cry? And then Yamato came, so it was like, bro, we have to hide you.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. So then they like hide him under the bed, but he's so big that the bed is suspended off of the ground. It's just like, dude, you're huge. And then and then Yamato comes in, and then like she sits on the bed but still doesn't notice because of like how it's so funny. So it's just like sitting there, and then like Suna's like, so how do you feel about good? And she's like, because whatever, like Suna was saying that Yamato liked Goda, and Goda was like, but she likes you. And like, dude, are you even listening? Like, no.
Yeah, and Suna makes Yamato say how much she likes him over and over again.
Right, and like usually I feel like on almost all things they do that in like pairs of 2 or 3, but he did it like 5 times. It'd be like, no, I really want you to say it again. No, really again, because he's really, really thick. So I want to make sure that, like, he understands. And she's like, so how do you feel about this? And she's like, I like him. And she's like, can you say it a little bit louder? She's like, I really like him. It's like, what was that again? And just, like just kept happening.
And I like it when he gets out from under the bed.
Right. Exactly.
Like a Godzilla movie.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, there's scenes like that are just definitely gold.
Yeah, that I had actually forgotten about that scene, but that was a fabulous scene.
Yeah.
That was really good, and it was a nice spin on the confession sequence, because you get these confession scenes,
from the guy to the girl, and
where they like meet outside of school, or like something happens, and she says it, and there was the thing where they went on the date and she got upset before that, and that's why she went over to Suna's place. But I feel like the bed sequence really. It put a really enjoyable spin on a scene that's in every anime, like just...
Again, it's a real unconventional thing, again, which makes me think about who the target audience is.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the target audiences are, like, people who are like Goda, or whatever, like, sort of, because, they, like the guys that have a hard time asking girls out, but in this instance it was like the girl who was confessing to him instead of him confessing to the girl, and then it's just really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, and I liked how Suna again really shows how good of a friend he is, because he sets up that situation perfectly.
Right.
And she's like, and Yamato's first response is, well, hey, you tricked me. You didn't tell me he was down here. And Suna's like, he would never, ever say to you that he liked me.
Right, exactly. And he would never believe me if I told.
Yeah.
He
just wouldn't,
Like, he's that level of a fool.
Yeah, which is just, that, and that's the gentlemanly thing is, he's so straightforward in this one way.
Oh, wait, what was it? Like he was saying, I will watch you two be happy together because I am a man, or that sort of ridiculousness.
Yeah, that sort of. I mean, it really does remind me of Jonathan Joestar. It was just this character who's just so above and beyond being a gentleman.
Right.
That, you know...
Don't mind the planes.
Plane. Yeah, so this series is, I mean, again, really well done. And the comedy scenes are really well executed. The timing is very nicely done. And it's very deftly handled. I mean, I just think that goes back to the... I haven't read the original manga, so I don't know. But Mario Osaka, I mean, he just knocked this out of the park. I mean, you can tell that he's been directing stuff for so long. He's so confident that this is... He makes it look easy, you know?
Right.
And these comedy scenes are not, because, I mean, if they weren't shown in the right way, if they didn't have the right timing, they would fall flat.
Yeah.
And it is really nice that it's so deftly handled that it works. It works every time.
I think that's probably, I would say, just to like put more merit into that, that's one of the most impressive things about this is that it's not terrible.
Yeah, well, because, you know, a lot of time, you know, like with Sidonia or Blood Blockade Battlefront, you know, they have these big show-off action scenes, you know, these really beautifully animated, you know, shit ton of explosions, people are dying, you know, it's super dramatic. And I feel like that it's easy for that to get a lot of attention because it stands out, it's very eye-catching. But I think, you know, there needs to be a lot more said about directors who can, like, subtly pull shit off and make it amazing without those big scenes, you know, without these, like, really, you know, like, amazing fight scenes or something like that. I mean, this comedy is very well handled, and it's very sweetly done. I mean, the earnestness of the characters comes across beautifully.
I have no idea how they're going to do 24 episodes of it.
I don't know how they're going to... Yeah, and I really... Again, like I said, my greatest fear is the...
Like a love triangle.
Yeah, because you see it happening because Goda keeps dragging Suna along on these dates saying, oh, well, she, you know, Yamato gets very nervous with that when it's just the two of us, so I'd like to have you there. And, you know, they'll do a quick shot of Suna's face, and it's like, you can tell that this could get to the point where he's just torturing him, you know? Like, there is finally a girl that he likes, but it's with his best friend. You know,
right.
She's with his best friend. And that, I don't know, that could get really, I mean, I guess really what you know, I see in this is in, you know, in real life when shit like this happens, it's usually terrible. It's usually really fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when I see the situation in the anime, it kind of makes you wonder, like, is this going to be really bad? Or is it going to be done in such a way that's so haphazard that it actually doesn't touch on, you know, how deep that is? Now, I think we get a little hint of what's going to happen with the ogre story. Because we get you know, I already went over the beginning of it, which was that, you know, the blue ogre, you know, it goes in and tries to attack the human village, or pretends to, so that the red ogre will save them and become friends. And then in the third episode, they reveal the second half of that story, which is the blue ogre disappears. And the red ogre, you know, has all these human friends, goes to find the blue ogre and, you know, realizes that there's a little note that the blue ogre left for the red ogre saying, hey, you know, you've got friends now. If they see you with me, they're not going to trust you anymore. So I'm going to leave. And he had left. And the red ogre is like, oh, fuck. You know, I lost my... You know, it's great that I have all these human friends, but, you know, I lost my best bud. I feel like that's that's the whole plan of the story. You know, they opened with that story. You know, they brought it up in the key third episode, which is when Goda and Yamato get together, and I feel like that's how they're going to solve it. I think Suna will just leave, and then if it doesn't end there, then the dramatic conclusion to My Love Story will be Goda repairing, or, you know, basically recreating the relationship with his best friend in a new way. if possible. And I feel like that will be the conclusion of the story.
Yeah?
Or I'm just talking out of my ass. It's just they put so much emphasis on the blue ogre, red ogre story.
It's true. It's hard to think that that's not going to link into it somehow.
Yeah, I really feel like that's, and I actually think it's a nice reminder of, that we are talking about some very sensitive topics, really, but we're not going to do it in a way that's just what I'm afraid of, which is the sort of bullshit love triangle that goes on for 16 episodes with a lot of people crying, misunderstandings everywhere. It just gets really annoying. And, and it also sets up for a really dramatic moment, which is when Suna leaves, that would be a really, that would be really big. So that's kind of where I feel like if they're that on the nose with the ogre sort of analogy.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
But really just really strong. And also,
I guess it depends. I think like yes and no to the really strong thing, because it's like there's some parts that are really good and there's some parts that aren't. And I'm wondering if someone who's watching this from like a shonen who enjoys shoujo animes, if they're gonna feel the same sort of tornness, they're gonna be like, wow, like these parts are really good, but these other parts are really bad. So it's like I would almost rather it have done one thing really well, that like instead of almost two things that are really well that don't go together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the other two shoujo series that I was thinking of, I remember the names, which is Kimi ni Todoke and Ao Haru Raido, or Blue Spring Ride. And these stories, they have a very, I think what's lacking so far in the first episodes of My Love Story is that it's very, very focused on these three characters.
Yeah, maybe introducing some more characters might make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I think, and that's why I think I enjoyed the fourth episode so much, is because you got to see more characters.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and you got to see them interacting with these new characters, which gave the central trio more depth. It gave them more room to,
and bringing in the sister. So maybe it develops the whole world. Like, what was it? BBB and like Mad Max. When you were watching it, you could tell that there was a full world that was going around. It was going on around the characters. And then with this one, it really just seems like the whole world encompasses these characters. But maybe if they build out the world, then it can make it less intense, which might make it better. Does that make sense?
And I think if they're doing 24 episodes, that's the only way it'll be good.
Yeah.
Is if they branch out. Because I think, that's what I think is the big difference between that and, let's say, Kimi ni Todoke. Kimi ni Todoke is, I've only seen the first batch of episodes, but, it's really based on, again, you have a similar story where you have a central character who's awkward for some reason.
Right.
So in Kimi ni Todoke, she's very socially awkward, the main character. She doesn't speak much, and there's a reoccurring joke that she looks like the ghost from The Ring. She tries to be helpful, but she looks really scary,
I like good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but what's nice there is she gets a group of friends, and the other classmates are very well fleshed out from what I saw before the relationship really takes off, before the core relationship really gets together, and I think that just again, this world building aspect, you just feel like because people, in a big way, are defined by their social interactions. So when you have characters that are only interacting with two other characters, you're kind of suffocating them.
Right. Right.
You're kind of, they could be the best characters in the universe.
Right, but you can only have so much like there's not the great mecha battle scenes or whatever. Like you can only have so many actions. Yeah. I think I'm probably going to watch more of this anime, so I might just maybe bring up a little quip about it or whatever in the future, to see if something crazy happens. Just like as a, I don't know, as like a recap or touching base or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say just as we said with Sidonia and Battlefront, we'll do a second part of the podcast that basically, if you feel like the show merits it.
I mean, like, or I'm not sure. I don't think it would merit a full podcast, but maybe just like touching base, like just tacking it onto to like thoughts onto a future podcast.
Well, I'd be really interested to see where it goes, insofar as adding more characters, adding more texture to the world, and also where this trio goes. I mean, because the trio is very, very likable.
Right.
I like all three of them. I mean, the girl, I love Megumi Han, but it is kind of too much of a squeaky voice, but I mean, I like them. They're very earnest, and they work well with each other, which is why I think it's so tempting to just have chapters about them, because I'm sure they're a joy to write.
Yeah.
I mean, they just look like they'd be really fun to write stories for, especially, I think it was episode 2, I forget exactly where it was, but there's a scene where Goda gets really distracted by when Yamato, tells him something nice, or I think she just compliments him or something, and he's like totally not paying attention to where he's going, so he falls down a manhole, he gets stuck.
Oh.
He almost gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
Really funny, and his friend is basically saving him.
Right.
At each turn.
Right. It's like
and that was really nice.
And he like bows to a wall, and he's like, that's not a person. And then like, he almost walks in the chat. It's like, dude, you'll seriously die.
Yeah, and that was really funny. And those, like you were saying before, those quip moments really bring the charm out in the series.
Right.
That they're actually funny, which is great. It's actually something that makes you laugh, and that so far all of the texture of the characters has been coming out via comedy. So I would really like to see more people get introduced, which is why I think the episode with, like you were saying, with Suna's sister is important, because you really get to see
equally strong characters else. Though is really important, because if they're just like more characters to, like, I don't know, empower the main characters, I don't think that'd be good. But I think if it's like other strong characters that almost dim, the main characters a little bit, or like equalize it,
or challenges them.
Yeah.
I mean, just brings out something else in them that this, the other, because otherwise the Yamato Goda relationship is, I mean, he's the super gentleman and she's kind of a shy girl, So they're not going to really challenge each other if it's just the two of them in the entire world,
Right.
It's like it might take a while for them to get around to that evolving, whereas other characters are going to, like with her friends, when they were talking bad about him, it was really interesting to see her reaction.
God, and what was it like? I mean, again, almost painful, because it was like...
Well, she ran away and she was crying.
No. For me, the painful part was when she was like, "Oh, I just didn't explain to them how awesome you are." So I'm just like, well, bleh, like, I mean, it's like, it's really cute, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just too much for me. Like,
it's too much, and it just doesn't feel like a real person,
Right? Yeah. I think that's a really good point, actually.
It just doesn't feel like a real person, and actually, I think it happens in shonen too. I mean, you just have these characters like Naruto, where Naruto is chasing Sasuke for what, hundreds and hundreds of chapters.
We let's not talk about that first.
Yeah, but again, it's like this. You have this issue that comes up with. Okay, maybe it's an interesting story, but are these characters really? Is this what they would really do?
Right. Would eventually be like, okay, dude, fuck off.
Yeah. Or I don't know. I mean, it's just again, I'm not too familiar with a lot of shoujo series, so I can't super say. But it's just one of those moments where would a more negative reaction been more interesting from Yamato than this, I just didn't explain it well enough to them, which essentially shifts the blame away from her friends to herself, which it's like, well, okay, yes, you've proven that you're super sweet.
Right. But come on.
But you can't just, like, throw yourself under every bus.
Right, exactly.
I mean, and especially in a situation that was that blatant. You know, it wasn't like someone told her that her friends were talking shit about her boyfriend. She fucking heard them, like, right there, and confronted them. Like, you know, she ran into them.
Right.
And then when she says something like that, like, oh, I just didn't explain it well enough. It's like, nah, bitch, what are you doing?
Your friends are assholes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how are you going to deal with that? You know, when you're trying to be super sweet. But I think all in all, I mean, I don't think there's really much more for me at least, to say.
Yeah, I mean, the one more point, the one additional point I was going to add was, I don't know if that's something really inherent to My Love Story that's a problem, or if it's just a problem with the genre, you know?
Right.
It's just like, that's just part of the deal, you know? You get, just like in Mecha, you get the same thing, you know? Or whatever. Right. So, yeah, again, that's not necessarily a big, you know, I when you talked about it, I remembered I got upset about it too, but that's not necessarily something that this series all by itself fucks up on, you know?
It could be the genre, which neither of us are really familiar with. Yeah,
precisely. So, I mean, otherwise, I think everything we said in the positive about this really stands, which is very deftly done. And actually, I may not watch more of it, but I will check out the manga, you know, the next time I'm in the bookstore or something, because I'm actually interested in how these comedy sequences, which are so well, they're pulled off so well in the anime. I'm really interested to see what they're like in the manga.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Let me know.
Is it this funny in the manga? Yeah, I mean, I will, and that's actually, I will definitely read more of it, just for that.
Right, yeah, because I mean, like the too close, the laugh, pause, laugh, like it's all really well done in an animated. I mean, like if you were like, this is an original anime and not based off of manga, I'd believe you because of just how it's delivered, you know.
Well, like the laugh pause scene, how is that going to work in the manga?
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. I have no idea.
I mean, the only thing that seems a little clear to me is his facial expressions, which I'm sure that's a major point in the manga, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, again, the voice acting is really good and the directing is really good. So I'll see. So when you you'll watch more of the show. I'll read some of it, and then we'll comment on it again in a later episode.
Yeah. So speaking of later episodes, what's on the plate?
So on the plate for next week is, I think the title is it bad to pick up girls in a dungeon?
How are we going to abbreviate that?
Yeah, so if you thought Blood Blockade Battlefront was bad...
BBB was hard enough. Fuck, man.
Yeah, the girlfriend dungeon... My girlfriend the dungeon.
Right. Girls in dungeons.
So this will be the first time that Two Dimensional Champions will be covering an anime based on a light novel. And light novels historically have just fucking long titles. I don't know why, really. But they have gigantic titles. So yeah, that will be our greatest challenge so far in the podcast. Well, how will we abbreviate the title for the series?
Growing each week, you know, we have new challenges. You know, this time we listened to or we watched the shoujo anime, and now we're gonna try to abbreviate a really long title. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I think we're going back into the realm of the fan service valley, I guess.
Ah, my home. How I missed you.
So more familiar territory after the unknown
after watching My Love Story, I need at least 12 panty shots in like the first 2 episodes in order to.
Well, from what I've heard, you will get that and more. Yeah, apparently it's a dirtier version of Sword Art Online. Although I haven't seen it yet, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
You know.
Sounds good.
But sounds good. So. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, send us your requests either on iTunes or SoundCloud or the Tea Time with Godzilla blog. Just in the comments, write what you'd like us to. If you're listening to the show from there, just write, comment what you'd like us to do in a future episode. And
I'm also really curious again with those comments if you want to add if you liked My Love Story and why you liked it, because confused about its like target audience and who like would really like it, you know, and not just like really like parts of it and then really dislike other parts of it. So that's sort of how I felt.
Yeah,
so I'm curious.
That's a great point. Yeah, tell us what you think and where you thought we could have added a bit more, basically.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you all back here same time next week.
All right. Take care.
Later.